My father said within 15 days you will get married. I was thinking I should die, run away, kill myself. In that time I was only 13 years old.
Why you're here? I don't want to see you. Why don't you die? Get out of my way. Another girl? That's what they get from their family.
You have broken me all the way down, down upon my knees.
I was beginning an adventure that would throw me into the middle of cultural collision in a country exploding with the spirit of progress, yet one still deeply entrenched in tradition and the old ways. My journey of discovery would see me grapple with this tension, not only in the people that I would meet, but also within myself. 20 years ago, I lived in a small rural village in India called Ravin. I spent most of my 20s as a monk. That time in India made a deep and lasting impression on me. Certain views that I would have heard when I was a monk, which are very traditional views, that are also prevalent across large parts of India, would be women are less intelligent, they're just like children, their opinion doesn't really matter, they can never really be leaders, their position is in the house.
Everyone should get the education, but girls, if we expose to all value of life, the backbone of our tradition will be lost.
There is one rape which happens in every 20 minutes. After puberty, some families actually don't even let their daughters study. If they have a dream to become something, that is stopped. They know nothing more than taking care of the kitchen, the home, so that they get married, go to another family and do the same thing all over again.
You're just a daughter, you're just a girl, It feels like we're just second-class citizens. We'll never be leaders. We're not always ever good enough.
What happens when a girl is born in the village? Do people get happy?
No, they want boys and boys.
They want boys.
And what chance had we got when you missed every shot?
How do you take tradition, culture, wisdom from the past and actually bring it into the future so that it's practical and helpful?
Education should be given to girls merely because it's their right.
I can do anything in my future. Anything.
I want to be an astronaut.
Astronaut?
Yeah.
Wow. Where are you going to go?
On moon?
Mars or space? I like to touch the sky. A girl can touch the sky. Yeah, a girl can do anything.
And you have broken me all the way down.
Some people will say what's authentic is that men rule the world and women should be quiet and
yeah, that's what I'm telling.
place.
So if that is what is authentic, that will stay. If it's not, it will go.
You'll be last.
We'll open up to questions if you have, or comments, thoughts,
reflections.
I think they're just having a chat out there.
Okay, so go ahead, I'm sorry.
I love the way you were documenting your tour across India, different locations, different organizations that were helping out in the cause. Are there any plans to keep in touch with the different individuals like Anuradha that may do a sequel 10 years from now and at some point follow up?
Well, we are in touch with her. We can give you an update. So I always thought, like it says in the film there, we thought it's so amazing what's going on now, but it just felt like marriage was inevitable. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, but oftentimes it stops the education. But Anuradha, as you can see, was quite a different type of character. She was very strong. And she is married, she has a baby. She did find one of those type of boys that she was trying to find who was educated and he's a teacher actually. And you saw on her roof, she was teaching girls in her area. So now she's moved to a different place where her husband is, but she's also still teaching girls in that area. And she set up a little school there. So so then, I mean, some of the other characters who else are we in touch with? Shivraj, the boy, who kind of went through a bit of a change in his behavior and stuff. He's now working for that organization, ECF, and he's teaching other boys as well. So lots of them have really positive progressions in their stories. And, but 10 years from now, maybe, if we're still here.
So Rav, I just want to bring, maybe you can explain, we have kept in touch with the organisation, but we've also helped contribute, this isn't a commercial film from our perspective, but we have raised some funds. Just a little bit on how we've spent those donations and where that's gone.
Yeah. Making it. So I was really conscious in the beginning that I didn't want, because my normal company, Be Inspiring Films, we make films for charities and impact type films. And so I was really conscious with this film in the beginning. I wanted to tell the story so that people could take away what it meant to them wherever they lived in the world in terms of gender stereotypes and equity and all that kind of stuff. So it wasn't really the initial intention to raise money with the film, but we did through different online screenings and people giving donations. We raised about £20,000, which we then distributed to the various different charities that are in the film. And most recently, we've decided to give all of the money to Anuradha for her school. So if any of you feel inspired after this, if you go to agirlcantouchthesky.com, there's two things that I invite you to do if you feel inspired. One is you can go to the reviews page and go to the bottom and you can leave a review of what you thought of the film. And the other thing is you can go to the donate page, and if you give anything, then it will go to help Anuradha's school. So yeah.
Good. Another question, or comment, please.
I was going to ask, it was a big undertaking and just wonderfully produced. What's the mark that it's left on you personally? We know you have the connection yourself, Rav, as a monk. How have you been since just coping with all this? Because for me, it totally reshaped my worldview on how, I believe in the interview we did for the website, like I said, I started this film festival to help women in film, but what you really shine a light on is how really suppressed girls and women in this part of the world are. So how do you live with that? How does that sit with you on a day-to-day basis? How do people around you react to that? Just any kind of comments and what you can share on that, please.
Sure. I'll go first and I'll be brief. So for me, this is a deeply personal project. The conception of it was the Tuk Tuk Challenge. I was a trustee of the charity that we saw on there. So it was deeply personal, and it was something that I was passionate about. But I sort of come out of here, now this is 2-3 years since the edit, we've put it out there. I feel hopeful. I think there is hope. I think when the conversation, when men are involved in that conversation as allies, we can really create a really gender equitable society. It's up to me to change as a man, to make the adjustments in my life, and I think that's been a great learning for me on a personal level. But the sort of summary of it is I am actually more full of hope now than I was when we started this journey 8 years ago, and 2016 was when the Tuk Tuk Challenge happened. So that's from my perspective. I'll hand you to Brad.
Wow.
Thanks, Rav. I mean, you saw in the film, my wife is from Indian background, and we had many conversations during the making of this film about how these issues are playing in our own lives. So as much as it is very much a story told about young women in India, actually these dynamics are at play in different ways for at least I can say for myself, but also for many people who've seen the film in their own lives as well, in different parts of the world, maybe in slightly different ways. But so it's a very interesting time, and I think we've gone backwards and forwards between, like, it's forced me to be, my father was an entrepreneur, very successful, worked very hard, and I had 2 brothers and 1 sister. My mom was extremely capable and intelligent and everything, but she took on that role of looking after us and being at home. And I fell into it myself a little bit like my dad without realizing it, that you're the one out there doing all the stuff and people are giving you the praise and you're doing, it looks like you're the one doing everything, but there's so much that my wife and my mom was doing at home, and that these women are just expected to do, and there may never be any thanks, or there may never be any acknowledgement, and there may never be any even consideration that they're just never even given a thought. Like, it's just like, of course, you just have to do that. And so it's really helped me to kind of rethink that and do what I can to sort of change it in my own life, but also put the film out there, and hopefully then whoever watches it can, some of those cogs might start turning for them too. So yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So hopeful. Thank you.
Do you know if many of the girls in the film, like many of the girls in the Ravin school or in the villages that you shot in the film, have they had a chance to see the film, or will they be having a chance to see it?
Yeah, great question. We hope so. That's something I have sort of mooted with them. Anuradha, has she seen? I think she has.
It's a really interesting question. We've certainly worked with the organizations to make it available to them. I don't know that they have seen it. I think it may be partly to do with language and stuff, because a lot of it is obviously in English as well. But I've certainly been keen for them to see it, but if I'm honest, I don't know that they have.
We had a campaign of online viewing, which was worldwide. Anyone around the world could view the film for free. So maybe some people in those communities will have seen it. But if there's any producers or Netflix executives, then let us know. Amazon Prime, we're open. Hulu. Yeah, okay.
Any last ones?
You don't have to, but if you've got any more comments, questions, yeah.
I do. It's interesting with the tuk-tuk challenge. I mean, that statistic was pretty alarming of how many people die on a daily. Has any, improvement happened since you filmed it all?
No, 150,000 in India. I mean, it is one of the world's most dangerous places to drive. But as Princely, so this was my idea to bring this tuk-tuk challenge. I'm also doing a tuk-tuk challenge in November of this year on the east coast of India. So we've done the west coast now, so I'll do the east coast this year. But you drive defensively, you don't drive aggressively, and as Princely said, we don't drive on the left of the road, you drive on what's left of the road. So just bear that in mind. There was one point where Nick and I, we were sharing tuk-tuks, and he's half blind, he's got diabetes, he's going blind anyway, and he's driving away. And then the sun sets, and then we're out in the country, and it's pitch black. There is no light pollution. It's getting pitch black to the point where, like a baby, I don't know if you noticed in the baby, when you're doing this, you start nodding off. So the pair of us were nodding off. So at 6:30, it was pitch black. So I had to phone the emergency truck because there's a pickup that can come. So they came and found us in a little village. And they drove the tuk-tuk and we got in the rescue vehicle, so, yeah.
So we're in America, so it's quite far to India, but if any of you fancy going on the tuk-tuk challenge, it's actually not as scary as it sounds. It is pretty wild, but it was a lot of fun. A great way to see India by road, and of course also then you'll be raising more money for the girls' education charities too. So yeah, thank you so much for having us. Thank you, Katrina.
Can I just ask one more question? I'm sorry. What has surprised you the most in terms of audience reaction to the film?
It's a really good question. Yeah, great question. think how many men who, because obviously, you know, something like this on the face of it, will perhaps more women would naturally be attracted to it. But the men that have watched it, it has really moved them. And actually, that's it. I think one of the characters that people have liked the most is the father, who was going to marry his 4 daughters off. And it's because I think I'm really proud actually that we did a job of showing his humanity as well, because we didn't paint him like as this bad guy. I mean, he is in a very difficult situation. He's very poor. It's a cultural thing, and he was trying to do the best thing that he thought at the time, and he was willing to be adjusted by the school getting involved and the police getting involved. But you could see, hopefully, that he wasn't a bad guy. You know, it's easy to sensationalize things and to go, these people are so bad and these are the good guys and all that, but it's not really so simple like that in life, is it? So that was one of the things that that I think I'm not saying surprised about, but I'm happy that people could. We didn't want to give answers with the film. We didn't want to tell people how to think. We wanted to get them to hear the questions, see the characters, and then make up their own mind. So yeah. Anything for you?
Well, I think a realization seems to be happening. I didn't want to make a film which was telling people India's not a great place. India's an amazing place. And this issue isn't India-centric. So the issue of safety for women and gender equality and men being part of that journey is not an Indian-centric problem. You know, in the UK we have our own problems, and I'm sure in this wonderful nation that you have your own problems. So this is not just a film about India, and I think the realization is coming a lot from even the men who've seen it, that this is something that we all have to work on. India was just a conduit to tell our story. It could have been anywhere in the world, quite frankly.
Wow.
Okay.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you both so much. Thank you. Big round of applause. You saw how stunningly beautiful, provocative, relevant, and touching the story was. So, best documentary feature film, A Girl Can Touch the Sky, Ravin. Thank you for coming all this way, both